Let's state the obvious. Europe is dying. And the native Europeans, aka white Europeans, have spoken in the latest European parliamentary elections. And the establishment is not very happy with the results, to say the least, as Macron has been forced to dissolve the French parliament and call for snap elections. No one thought that this would be possible in France. But in other words, the people have spoken. Let's clarify some things about me. I personally don't vote. I've been disillusioned with democracy for a very long time by now. But this time I sorta kinda like the results. And this is the result of many things. And the obvious one is that Europeans are sick and tired of globalism, multiculturalism, diversity. All those are code name for indirect genocide of white Europeans. Why do I say this outlandish statement? Well, if it's not obvious, the declining birth rate throughout Europe speaks for itself, and the deep financial debt they find themselves in at this point. Europeans are sick and tired of mass immigration into their own countries, and they voted accordingly. And the established liberal globalist cabal is not happy with the results because they do not want an awakened Europe, a Europe that is very nationalistic, a Europe that cares about their culture, nationality, and their tribe, because it is harder to control people that care about those things mentioned. Make no mistakes about it. This is a war that has been waged on Europeans for decades through demoralization, mass immigration to achieve demographical replacement. Look at Sweden, from the most beautiful and peaceful country in Europe, became the capital of since mass immigration into their country. They have gang wars between Albanians, Muslims, and Africans. How's that cultural enrichment going on for you, huh? Sweden? Make no mistake about it. This is a calculated and meticulously thought out plan that is in the making for decades. That is apparent at this moment in time and is starting to backfire because the establishment is not happy with the results of the EU parliamentary elections. Those results weren't supposed to happen. I would say that this is a cycle Europe is going through at this point. You have economic prosperity for a while. You promote consumerism. You invite immigrants. You promote degeneracy. Those are destabilization factors in the course of destroying a nation. And you think all people will just comply and not respond in some way? This is the result of the arrogance of the establishment and the arrogance of politicians. Let's take some current examples from Europe where the right wing is rising and shaping the political landscape of said country. Italy, for example, has the Fratelli d'Italia, a right-wing populist political party led by this fine lady, Giorgia Meloni, that won the general election in Italy in 2022. Making it the farthest right-wing political party that won in Italy since Il Duce. Netherlands, which is also a premier there, the Party for Freedom, led by Geert Wilders. France, in the European parliamentary election, had a whopping 32% votes for the Rassemblement National, far right-wing party, which was a first in the history of France. In Finland, you have the Finns Party, which are gaining popularity every day. Although they lost in the EU parliamentary election of 2024, they are still very popular in Finland. In Hungary, you have the Fidesz, KDNP, that won the EU parliamentary with a whopping 45%, and the other party, TISA with 30% is also a right-wing populist party, but not as radical as the Fidesz. In Austria, you have the Freiheitliche Partei Österreich that also won the EU parliamentary elections, and the other party also a right-wing party. And when the Austrians go right-wing, you know the shit is about to get serious. Belgium, aka Northern France, has Vlaams Belang. Also, they won the most seats in the EU election. The Czech Republic also has Spolu, which granted are not as right-wing, but they want a Christian democracy, which is fine by me. In Germany, you have the popular AfD party, Alternative für Deutschland, that won 7 seats in the EU parliamentary election, and they are very stigmatized, ostracized, and sometimes downright demonized by the established media. And this says a lot about the state of Europe, because when the Germans go right-wing, boy, you know the shit is about to hit the fan. Oh, no, stay down, little one. Down, not yet. Even here in my backyard, Romania, we have AUR, the newest party in Romania that has raised in popularity like no other party. Well, there was another party in the 30s, but we're not gonna talk about it right now. And they gained 7 seats in the EU Parliament. The point is that Europe is sick and tired of the establishment, and they want to preserve their national sovereignty, their culture, their tribe, their nationality, their identity. And you know what? I think it was bound to happen at some point, because it's in our nature as humans to be defensive towards our tribe. And I think no matter how hard the globalist establishment is trying to demoralize and destabilize Europe, in the end, they will eventually fail. Because it's in our nature to be tribalistic, and this is a great thing. I might argue that is one of our best characteristics as a species. Europe is turning again right-wing populist because this is the natural tendency of humans. You might like it or not, but populism, traditionalism, or might I argue fascism is sorta kinda human nature. Don't get me wrong, these far-right political parties that won the EU parliamentary elections are not fascist. Hell, I might even argue they're not even far-right. The media and the establishment has painted them as far-right, fascists, lunatics, because they have to leverage this weak narrative. They have done it since World War II. And they demonized this word and changed its meaning because they know it is a powerful idea. It is a powerful ideology. How could they control you if your roots are strong? If you cling to your tradition, if you respect your religion, your ancestors, if you are a patriot, they need to destroy this idea, the idea of nationalism, because how could you control a people that are united under one banner, under one culture, under one religion, under one idea? They need people to be disorganized. They need people to have multipolar ideas. They need multiculturalism. That way they can create chaos, a controlled chaos. That way a nation is weakened. They need to shove down our throats the idiotic and retarded idea that diversity is our strength. Where in history was diversity a strength? Show me in history one nation that has benefited from diversity. Not a single one has benefited from this. When you push people to a breaking point, when the food prices are high, when the cost of living is unmanageable, the people will turn to the populist movements, always. In history, when you have a crisis like we are in today, you will have a conflict, either a war or multiple coups, because people will always turn towards safety, towards tried and true ideas that are thousands of years old. Do you think populism began in the 20s and 30s? No, it was always here. and it always had a resurgence when times got hard. You know the meme, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men create hard times, and to some extent it is a never-ending cycle in all the empires and nations in history. I know it is a cliché, but it is true nonetheless. Europe at this moment in time is beginning to wake up. I personally didn't vote these EU parliamentary elections because, frankly, I don't believe in democracy. I don't like democracy. And I will not state my reasons here because I will make a dedicated video for this specific topic in the near future. Believe that. Bottom line is that Europe is tired of diversity, tired of multiculturalism, tired of globalism, and wants a return to normality. A return towards nationalism, towards a populist government, towards something stable, towards something tried and true. And frankly, they are tired of being the battleground for USA or Russia's interest and their proxy wars and their stupid ambitions. Who are we Europeans? Why have we fallen from the continent that basically created civilization as we know it, to a ball that is tossed around between USA and Russia for their interests? Why is Europe the experiment for globalism? Why is Europe supposed to accept all the immigrants and pay welfare for them? Have we forgotten who we are? Have we forgotten the mistakes we made in the past? Who are those politicians whom nobody elected, like Klaus Schwab, Angela Merkel, and Ursula von der Leyen, to dictate the fate of Europe? Who do they think they are? We are not your guinea pigs. We are not gonna take this subversion anymore. It is time for Europe to wake up and realize our worth and realize that we are the masters of our own destiny.